everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you'd like, and today I am here for my July TBR. Crazy to think that we're halfway through the year already, but we are. I would like to apologize if I seem a little bit sweaty and disheveled. It is 100 degrees in Philadelphia. It's so bad. I do have a fan going. It's on the lowest setting, so hopefully you can't hear it, or it's not too disturbing to the audio, but I needed some air circulation in this room. It's crazy, but we gotta move. So here I am, very excited to film this, because not only do I get to play my TBR game, which I love doing every month, but July is when I am hosting the next round of Vox Machina-thon, so I will leave the link to that announcement video down in the description for you to check out, but we will be going through my TBR for that readathon at the end of this video, so stay tuned if you're interested. But before we get there, we do have to do all of the other things that I do in order to pick out the books that I read each month, so let's just get to it. So as always, the first step is picking out which books from my 25 in 2025 list to prioritize in the month. So I've got my jar, and we're gonna pick 2 slips of paper out of it, but first we're gonna give it a little shake. And there are some in here that I've read without having to pull them, reading them just came up naturally, so if that happens, I will put that paper to the side and pull a different one. Ooh. Oh, we've got 2 right here, so we are going to go with them. Let's do this one first. Oh, all our hidden gifts. So I will be reading book 2. Should I reread book 1? It has been a couple of years. I don't know. You can see it right here on my shelf. All Our Hidden Gifts is a YA witchy kind of series about a girl in Ireland, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Ireland. Maeve. She finds this tarot deck and it's got this weird extra card in it and some things happen. It was really great. I loved it. But it has been several years and I'm not sure if I remember enough to move on to the second book. But I also don't want to make that decision right now off the cuff, so we'll say that I might reread book 1. If I can find a detailed summary of it somewhere online, then I will move on to book 2, which is called Every Gift a Curse, I believe. I think Every Gift a Curse is book 2, and then, what's book 3? I know what it's called. These Gifts That Bind Us? I have no idea which one is which, actually, but I will, sometime after filming this video, see if I can find a summary, and if not, I'll read book 1. If I can, then I'll read book 2, and I will put on the screen whichever one I'm going to end up reading next month. So that is our first 25 in 2025. The other piece of paper I pulled says, ooh, A Dark and Drowning Tide. So excited. This is one of my dark academia books from my 25 in 2025 list, and I cannot wait. I'm very excited. So, great options, which I mean any of the picks would have been great because I wouldn't have put them on my 25 in 2025 if I wasn't excited to read them, but I am very excited for these books. Next up, we have book club picks. So I am part of 2 book clubs. The first is the Nostalgia Train Book Club, and we will be reading Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda for this. I did own a copy of this book for many, many years, and I read it several times, and then a few years ago ultimately decided that someone else would get better use out of it than me, so I did unhaul it, but luckily, I've got a great library. I live in Philadelphia and we have a wonderful library system, and also apparently a lot of really loud cars driving by, but I can very easily get a copy of this through the library, so I will be reading it for the book club. Then, for one that I probably won't be reading, for the Bujo Buddies book club, the pick is Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and I honestly just have 0 interest in this. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been skipping a lot of book club books this year for both the Bujo Buddies and Nostalgia Train. I don't know what it is, but Wild Love just is not something that tickles my fancy, so I think I'm going to pass on this month. And what usually would be my last way of picking out my TBR for the month, if not for the readathon that I'm doing, we have my TBR game, which involves these cards. This is the Adventurer's Tarot deck by Weirdworks. It's not actually a tarot deck, it's an oracle deck, but it's called Adventurer's Tarot. I don't know. But it is D&D themed, and each card has a prompt. There are two types of cards. One is a class card where there are two copies of the same card, just with like different colorway in the deck. So if I pull one of those, I get to choose between the two prompts, unless I've already pulled one and used one of those prompts, in which case I have to do the other one. The other ones are enemy cards, where it would be like dragons, and there would be the 1 of dragons, 2 of dragons, 3 of dragons, 4 of dragons, and those would be one set of similar prompts. Hopefully that makes sense. I pull 5 cards each month. We are going to split the deck here, sure. Just to prove that I'm not cheating, I'm not putting certain cards on top. It truly is random. Let's see what we've got. We have the 2 of Beasts for our first card, the Fighter, ooh, the 5 of Adversaries. It's in Roman numerals, and I know my Roman numerals, it just takes me a second to like translate them in my head, so that's why I'm pausing a little bit. Our penultimate card, we have the 2 of Celestials, and finally, our last card for picking out the July TBR, we've got the Wizard. I love the Wizard. It's a great card. So beautiful. I also just like wizards in general. So, those are my 5 cards. I'm going to consult my list of prompts, pick out books for them, and then come back and tell you about them. Okay, friends, I'm finally back. It took a while to find books to fit these prompts. I'm still a little bit iffy on a couple, but not because of what the books are, but because I have so many books on this TBR. Like, it's gonna be a huge stack, metaphorically, of course, because a lot of these are going to be either physically through the library, so I don't have them yet, or just ebooks, either that I own or through the library, so it's gonna be a small stack to show you at the end, but it's a lot of books that I'll be reading next month, and I am equal parts excited and terrified. But let's just get to talking about the books that I'll be reading. So for the 2 of Beasts, the prompt is a retelling of a classic, which would have been great for June, because I believe the vlog should be up by the time this video goes up. But I'm doing a whole vlog where I read Lord of the Flies and then some retellings of Lord of the Flies. Would have been great, but unfortunately, not the right month. The book I've gone with isn't exactly a retelling, it's more of like a book that was inspired by the classic, but it's my game. I'm gonna do what I want. So I'm finally going to read Inferno by Dan Brown. This gigantic book. How many pages is this? Oh my god, 104 chapters? 620 pages. That's so many. Maybe I can get an audiobook from the library and that will help it go along faster? I don't know. This book has been on my TBR longer than any other book. I have owned it since the spring of 2017. No, 2016, because it was my senior year of high school. I have owned this book for 9 years and have yet to read it. I'm gonna finally do it. The time has come. So, the first book on the TBR from the cards. Next, for the Fighter, the 2 options are to either read a hyped book or a social media find, and I've decided to go with hyped book, and I'm going to read 2 Twisted Crowns. It's hyped by so many people, myself included, because I loved the first one, and so I'm hyping myself up to read the second, and hopefully I like it just as much. Guys, I cannot wait to read this book. Spoiler alert for my June wrap-up, but I adored One Dark Window. 2 Twisted Crowns better live up to the hype. That's all I'm saying. So, that is that card. Then I pulled the 5 of Adversaries, and this is a book with very mixed reviews, and the book that I'm going with is one that I have had friends rate 5 stars, and I've had other friends rate 2 stars, so very mixed reviews, and that is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, maybe? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this is a horror novel, It follows a queer couple who buy a house, maybe to live in, maybe to like flip and sell. I'm not entirely sure about that. But then one day, these people show up and they're like, hey, we used to live here. Can we like take a look around and see like what it's like, what's changed, because it's been a while? And the one member of the couple is like, I don't trust you, but the other one is like, yeah, sure, come on in. So obviously bad things happen considering it's a horror. I'm tentatively excited because, like I said, some of my friends have really enjoyed it, others not so much. We'll see where I land. The fourth card that I pulled, the Two of Celestials, and this is a book with stars or moons on the cover, and I'm going with The Third Daughter by Adrienne Tooley. I have wanted to read this book for so long, ever since last fall when I read, what is it called? Sweet and Bitter Magic, and loved it, and I just want to read more from this author. So I will be reading The Third Daughter, which is, I believe, the first book in a duology, but I'm not positive about that. And I also don't know a ton of what it's actually about. I just know it's an author that I really want to try more from, so I'm going to. And it does have tiny little sparks of stars on the cover, so it fits. Then the fifth card, the final card that I pulled, was The Wizard, which has two prompt options of either a nonfiction book or a writing craft book. And I've gone for nonfiction in this instance, and I will be reading The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. The tagline, or subtitle, or whatever you want to call it, is Murder, Magic, and Madness at the Fair That Changed America. So this is about the Chicago World's Fair and H.H. Holmes and all that. It is a very heavy book. It's like dense. How many pages is it? 432. So not bad. My boyfriend did try to read Dead Wake by the same author, which is about the Lusitania, because my boyfriend really likes nonfiction books about boats. And he wasn't a huge fan of the writing, so I'm curious to see how I feel about it. I don't think I would be interested in reading the boat book, but I am interested in reading the serial killer book, so hopefully it does it for me. And that is the fifth book for the cards. Now, all I have to talk to you about are my TBR books for Vox Machina-thon. So, there are 6 prompts to fulfill for Vox Machina-thon, plus the group book, so 7 books total being added to this TBR. A couple I have talked about already in this video, but most of them I have not, so adding a lot of books. The group book is, of course, Tusk Love, which is the whole reason I'm having this readathon. It's to celebrate the release of this book. I'm so freaking excited to get this. Like, you have no idea how much I want it in my hands already. Alas, it does not come out until July 1st, so I cannot get it until then. But so excited to read that. Now onto the prompts. First, we have Longing, which is the book that you most want to read right now, and I am putting in Two Twisted Crowns, because I want to read it so freaking bad after how much I loved One Dark Window. An easy explanation. Then we have Adventure, which is to go to a bookstore or the library or something like that and just pick out the book that seems the most interesting to you in the moment. And I have gone to my local bookstore. It is called Cupid's Bookshop. It is the first romance-only bookshop in Philadelphia. And I went to the local authors section specifically because I'm a local author. I want to support other local authors. And I found Strength Check by Catherine McIntyre. This is a queer romance. It's sapphic and follows Roxy, who opens up a board game cafe in San Francisco, and she needs a roommate. So the person who answers the ad is Melody, who moves to San Francisco for her new job. They both have these like not great past romances that they're kind of trying to get away from, and they are attracted to each other, but also are now roommates and are scared of love because of the things they've been through, so it's kind of messy there. But I love me a sapphic romance. I love a nerdy romance. This is book 1 in the Dungeons and Dating series, so hopefully D&D plays a big role in this, I would assume. I really loved the books by Christy Boyce. It's Dungeons and Drama and then Dating and Dragons. Those are YA, so quite different from this. I assume this is going to be spicy, but they are nerdy romances involving D&D, and I had a great time with those, so I'm excited for that element of this book, and I cannot wait to support another local author like myself. Then we have Bandits, which is to steal from someone else's TBR, and that book that I'll be stealing is We Used to Live Here. I'm not stealing this from anyone specifically, I just have seen so many people in the past couple of months talk about how they want to read it, so I'm considering that them putting it on a TBR, even if it's not specifically being put on a TBR. You know, my rules, my prompts, I can do what I want with them. The next prompt is Lonely, and that is to read a standalone, and I will be reading Deep Roots by Vanessa Rhodes. And this is a self-published book that I got a copy of months ago at this point, and I was so excited to read it when I first got it, but the timing just didn't end up working out, so it's been sitting in my ebooks for a while, and at this point I barely even remember what it's about. I just know it's fantasy. But we're getting to it. I will be reading it, and hopefully I love it. Then for Spark, it is to read a book by an author who has never disappointed you, and I'm cheating a little bit on this because I've only read 2 books by this author, the first and second book in a trilogy, and I'm putting the third book in the trilogy on here. So this author hasn't had much opportunity to disappoint me, but he hasn't, so he fits. So I'll be reading The Battle Mage by Taryn Matheru. This will sort of complete the Summoner trilogy for me, because it is the third book in that series. There is a prequel called The Outcast, so I'm not like completely finished with the series after this book, but I'm done with the main setup of it. So I cannot wait to do this. I have been starting series left and right, so I really should be finishing some, and I'm aiming to do so in July with some of these books. But the last prompt for Vox Machina-thon is passion, and that is to read a book with a theme or a trope or a topic that you're passionate about. And the thing that I'm going with is kind of a trope, kind of just a vibe, but I am very passionate about dark academia. I have several dark academia books that I've published. I love dark academia so much. So the book I'll be reading is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. This is like the world's floppiest paperback. It's very yellowed with age, and there's also a paper in it. What the heck? Why is there a paper? I guess someone used this as a bookmark and they got 530 pages in and then gave up? I don't know. I bought this at a library book sale several months ago, and I know this is historical in some way. I don't know exactly when it was set, but what the heck is going on out there? The main character, like her family has a bunch of secrets that she's investigating, and it leads her to the dark 15th century reign of Vlad the Impaler, and a time-defying pact that may have kept his awful work alive through the ages. So there's vampires. I'm so excited to read this. I know that I have the audiobook for this ready for me at the library. I think it says available soon, like within the next week or so. So this might be one of the first books that I pick up in the month, and she is thick. We've got a lot of thick books. We've got a lot of books, and many of them are thick. That's kind of scary, but I'm still very excited to pick this up. So of the 14 books that I've put on this TBR, I have 4 to hold up, and the other 10 are either ones that haven't come out yet, so I can't buy my copy, or I'll be getting from the library, or I own them as ebooks. All that fun stuff. But even this stack is intimidating because it's got 2 really thick books and a nonfiction. And then there's 10 more books on top of that? Who do I think I am? I don't know. I'm really getting myself into something here, but I am truly excited for all of the books that are on my TBR for next month. I can't wait to get into reading them. That is all for me today, though. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone!